much time do you want to get? All right. Good morning, folks. We'll go ahead and get started. My name is Zane Schnault with the Fayetteville Chamber of Commerce, and this is the Economic Development Committee meeting. We have guest speakers periodically, and today's guest speaker is Mayor Jordan. Again, just a couple of housekeeping items. We will be recording this call, and people are still joining. Please remain on mute until it is time to ask questions. And at this point, I'm going to turn it over to Steve Clark, CEO of Chamber of Commerce.
Good morning and welcome everyone. We have about 40 people on the call right now, and people are still joining. Now we're up to 43, so it's a moving number. Mr. Mayor, a lot of people are very interested in hearing from you and from your team. On behalf of the Fayetteville Chamber, I want to thank you, Mr. Mayor, for making yourself available. I really want to also thank you for bringing members of your team into this discussion. I know you're going to have Chris and others participate, and that's very meaningful and valuable to us. So thank you so much. We appreciate your leadership and the city's leadership during this pandemic. We all are trying to navigate waters that we don't know where they're going in which direction they're going to flow. So it's difficult for us all, but the city has been consistent, and that's very important in the daily lives of the citizens of Fayetteville and its businesses. And it has always been clear that your first priority is to keep our citizens safe. And so we appreciate that as well. So for all the people on the call, Mayor Jordan is going to speak. He's going to call on members of his team. They're going to speak. As we finish that up, we'll have some time for questions, and you'll be able to take some questions. The mayor is on a schedule, so he can't be here all day and all afternoon. So we're trying to conclude this in about 55 minutes from now. So just to give you a heads up as to what we're doing. And Mr. Mayor, we're up to about 45 participants now. So Lionel Jordan, the floor is yours.
All right. Well, I guess it is about 11 o'clock, but it's getting close to the afternoon. But good morning, everyone. It's certainly always enjoy speaking for the Chamber of Commerce. Usually in these meetings, we'll have about the same amount of people, maybe a few more, but it will be, in a room. So everything's being done virtually these days. So one of the things that I wanted to recap was the state of the city that I did in March. And as you know, the world has changed since March. So I wanted to give you an update on where we are with the bond packages mostly today, because it's going to take quite a while to get through these and where we're going and what we're doing when we see that everything seems to be somewhat, the economy seems to be looking like it's in some distress right now. I wanted everybody to know that we have a bond program that we passed in April the 9th, 2019. And we've got the first phase. I want to go through that first phase with you today. Also talk about some of the other great facilities that's coming online this year, some of the things we're going to be doing. But when we went through, and that was the gist of the state of the city back in March. Well, with the COVID-19 virus coming in and everything just sort of locking down for a while, I want everybody to know that's on this call right now, there is hope out there for us. It's not everything's falling apart and the city's not going down the tubes, and that are I'll have Garner Stowe give a report just on the building permits here in just a few minutes. I have on the line with me today Garner Stowe from our planning department. I have Devin Howland for our economic development vitality director, Chris Brown, our chief engineer, Kit Williams is on the line, city attorney, and Susan Norton, my chief of staff, is with us today. So to just get on into the bond program, I know we have a very limited amount of time. I wanted to talk just a little bit about what we did in April of 2019. I know that we had 10 questions where everybody said that nobody, even our bond folks, I think if they're on the line, said that it's going to be very difficult to pass all 10 questions. But the people of the city of Fayetteville passed all 10 of these questions. And I'm very proud of that accomplishment. That did not come, Mr. Clark can even relate to that. It did not come easy, but it was quite a campaign. It was certainly, as they say, one of those labors of love, because the people of this city saw the vision and voted for the vision and with the support that goes with it. And I'm very appreciative of that. So just to recap what we've got going on the bonds, I know we had the street improvements, which was 73 million, about $74 million, and the trail improvements was around 7 million. The drainage improvement project, something that we've talked about for years around here, was around 16 million. Park improvements was 26 million. City facilities improvements was $3 million. Economic development projects, I know you all are interested in that, was $3 million. Police headquarters, $37 million. Firefighting facilities improvements was $16 million. And then the construction of the cultural arts corridor was $31.6 million. So we've got a lot going. And what I really wanted to discuss today is where we're going. Take questions on the bond. But I know that if we look at where we're going, I think we want to start with Chris today. And I know that we've got a phase 1 coming out. As a matter of fact, between now and December of this year, we're going to put about $50 million into the economy through this bond program. Now that's going to help all of you. It's going to help the city. And as I have said, as long as we're building, we're going to continue to survive and do well in our city. I wanted to talk a little bit about phase 1, and then Chris will give some detail on the list. On phase 1, the first thing we got is the Fulbright Expressway and the Shiloh Drive intersection. Those of you that are interested in that, we're putting $860,000 and reviewing the scope and the budget. $860,000. And the design work on 71B corridor, North Street to Township, we're putting $500,000. It's going through the City Council for review and design. North Street, Garvin Avenue to Mission, we're putting $342,000 in design, and that's pending. Millsap Road and College Avenue improvements, $120,000 in design, and that's pending. Rolling Hills Drive improvements, $350,000 in design, and that's pending. Downtown pedestrian improvements, we're putting $2.58 million into Church Avenue, Meadow, Dixon Street, West Prairie. Then we have the MLK pedestrian improvements, that's $852,000. It's south and east of Archibald Yale. We got Dean, Sycamore, and Porter Road corridor. We're putting $5 million in. The design is underway on that. Appleby, Plainview, Rolling Hills connection, $3.5 million, and that just received approval. We got 15th Street Road intersection, that wonderful intersection over there where all the four-way stops is that, it has a lot of traffic because you can sweep the glass up out of the intersection usually at the end of the day. But that being said, we're going to redesign all that, working with the railroad and Arkansas, RDOT in the process. Then we got to Center Street, Harmon Avenue intersection, $1.3 million in design. We've got that 60% completed. We have the Rupel Road extension going to be done this year. That's $3 million. The Sain Street extension, $6.6 million of right-of-way nearing completion. Construction bidding this fall. Centennial Park entrance drive, $1 million. Construction's underway. Archibald Yale Boulevard safety improvements, $700,000 for design, and that's just beginning, taking public comment on it. All these that are under design, we're taking public comments on. Zion Road improvements, we're going to put $5 million. The bids are going to be open June 24th. Futrell, Shiloh, Gregg Railroad crossings, $1.5 million. We're ready for that. Then we got the trail improvements. Now let's take the roads first. And Chris, you want to give us a little rundown on what we're doing on the roads as I listed those?
Well, I think you hit on a lot of them, Mayor. But
oh, hang on, let me get off here.
okay,
I'm holding you up.
we got some reverberation here.
All right, try that.
Okay. I think we're still hearing. Hold on, folks. Okay. Yes. That's good. Can everybody hear me still?
You bet.
Yes, you can be heard plainly.
Yes. Okay. So I think the mayor kind of went through the list. I don't necessarily have a lot to add on the detail of this, but I think what I'd like to say is, as with any program like this, it starts slow, at least as far as what the public may see out there. Just because we're starting design. The mayor mentioned we have several projects we're starting design on. The 71B corridor projects, the plans that the planning process that we went through a year or so ago, we're implementing several of those projects, including Archibald Yale and the Plainview extension, along with the improvements to Highway 71B. So those design projects are all starting. We do have a couple of construction projects that are holdovers from the previous bond program. So we had those designed and ready to go. Zion Road, as the mayor mentioned, will be starting construction this fall. The Rupel Road projects, we had some development occur out there on part of that corridor. So we're able to partner with the developer to get some of that constructed. And we're basically finishing the loop of Rupel Road. So it will be a continuous route. Really all the way from Highway 62 to Howard Nickel Road. It won't be 100% improved because some of that section is in the county still, but it'll be a continuous route. So you'll be able to take that Rupel Road corridor from one end to the other. So that's a big project, very important project. The other project, the Sain Street extension, which is one we have federal aid for, is nearing right-of-way completion, and we'll be bidding that project this fall as well. Yeah, I think as the mayor mentioned, there are multiple projects that we're working on and moving through the design process. We have a few other projects that we'll be talking about as we go forward this summer that we'll start design on and start talking with the public about. It obviously is challenging to present some of these plans and get those out into the public. So we're working on ways and that we can do that virtually, but we do hope to be able to have some in-person meetings with stakeholders as we go through the project. So with that, Mayor, I'll turn it back to you.
Okay, so before we get on into questions on the road projects, I want to do the trail improvements, and I know Chris has been working on this too. So I broke these into categories where it's just not one solid list all the way through. So when we look at trail improvements, so they're going to include the Hamstring Bridge, and that's $400,000 of design. That's 60% completed. Challaghee Trail construction, $100,000, and there's a developer cost share in that. We got the Shiloh Trail at Centennial Park, $520,000. It's under construction right now. That's really a great looking trail we have put together there. Also, Highway 62, I-49 bike pedestrian connections is with RDOT right now, and that's on hold. So Chris, you want to touch on any of those?
Sure, Mayor. Yeah, the big one, obviously, that's under construction is the Shiloh Trail through Centennial Park. We didn't talk about Centennial Park on the streets project, but we have street funding, we have trail funding, we have parks funding in Centennial Park. So really a neat project and something that the public will be very, very proud of, very happy to be able to use once that's all done. The Hamstring Creek Bridge is a little small connection off of Hamstring Creek on the west side of town, but it connects a whole bunch of neighborhoods and really is a nice connection. That's a weakness in our trail system over there that we've had for a while. And the Jalagee Trail construction, that's really kind of just finishing that last piece of Jalagee that we had that was missing, and that's part of the new apartments being constructed there just off of Razorback Road. So there's will be a signalized crossing there to improve that. The 62 and I-49 pedestrian connections are part of the interchange there, and we're working with RDOT on trying to get those plans moved forward. There are a lot of moving parts there, so we're still working through how that all works. So that's a little, I think the mayor mentioned on hold. It's moving forward. It's just in the planning and programming phase. So still a lot of work to be done there before we get to construction.
Okay. Then I want to move us to the drainage and improvements, which is something that we have needed to do around here for years and years and years. So thanks to the people, you all supporting the bond program, here's what we've got going in phase 1 of our drainage projects. Missouri Creek, we're going to spend $3.7 million in design. That's under design. Sun Bridge, $1 million. That's under design. Fairlane, Elmhurst, McClinton, $275,000, and that's under design. River Meadows Drive, $67,000. Boxwood Addition, $630,000. That's under construction. East Avenue, $52,000. Neocoska Creek Stream Restoration, $350,000. Skull Creek Stream Restoration, $350,000. Homespun Drive, $210,000. Construction pending by the Transportation Department. And Palmer Avenue, $160,000, and that's out for bids. Chris, you want to touch on any of those?
Well, I would just say I tell everyone that drainage projects are, every project is the highest priority for the people who are impacted by the particular project. So all of these are very important. Some of them obviously are larger than others. The Missouri Creek project is over $3 million. That's essentially along Stanton in the Rolling Hills neighborhood, and then north of Rolling Hills. It's got a lot of overland flows. Basically, the Stanton becomes a river during the storm events. So trying to clean up and correct a whole bunch of items there. Sunbridge and College, we have some businesses there that flood, and then we have some flooding issues downstream. The Fairlane, Elmhurst, McClinton design is the water kind of runs uncontrolled through a neighborhood there as well. So we're trying to look at some detention and some other things that we can do. And then we have several other smaller projects that may only impact a few properties, but they do impact properties in such a way that they're damaging those properties. So we tried to prioritize all of these projects where we have water in houses or in businesses. And so we're trying to get some of the worst issues taken care of through this bond program.
Okay. Well, that's our road and drainage and trails report. I'd like to move it on. I want to get through the reports from the staff, and then we'll just take all the questions in one group, if that's all right with everybody. I guess it'll be, I can't see it. Yeah, there we go. How's that sound, Steve?
That'll work.
All right. I want to go to Garner Stoll right now, and he's got a report on our building permits, which I know everybody's curious about that. So this was very important to me. So Garner, you want to give that report?
Yes, Mayor. Garner Stoll, Director of Development Services. Our offices were closed in March, but one of the mayor's goals for development services was to continue our services. So we do development review. As you know, our planning division does development review. We issue building permits and we do inspections. I thought a good way to see how Fayetteville is doing is to compare the year-to-date numbers from 2019 to 2020. Fayetteville is a growing community, as all of you know, and construction is a big part of our economy. So if you look at the development review applications, they definitely have been up. Our Board of Adjustment continues to meet, and our Planning Commission continues to meet on a bi-weekly basis. Building permit that we have sold, 2019 was 622 to date, 2020 652. Some additional numbers that will give you an indication of the volume. In 2019 to date, the total evaluations, this is the evaluations that applicants place on their building permit application, was 160 million. In 2020, it was 171 million. So we're actually running a little ahead. The building permit volumes typically on a typical year are a little bit low in January and February, and they accelerate as we go into the summer. And we're still seeing that in 2020. Another number is new single family permits. Year to date, 2019, we had right at 300. 2020, we are at 271. So we're a little bit behind, but it's basically similar. Total residential, 2019, we had permitted 393 units. 2020, that we've actually permitted 540 total residential units. Last year, we finished very strongly in total residential units because we permitted some large student projects towards the end of the year. And we're seeing some apartment complexes in the development phase and probably will be permitted before the end of the summer. So as a summary, Mayor's goal was to keep our services to the development community at the level we were, and I think we've succeeded. And that part of the economy is healthy. Be happy to answer any questions.
All right, can everybody hear me okay?
Sure.
Am I coming through?
Yes, coming through.
Okay, thank you. New headphones. Great to see everybody. One of the things that I'll briefly touch on is, with the economic development bond, you have one project there that's pending. The chamber worked hard on this, an EDA grant that's been applied for. I think we will receive full approval on if we get that grant in the next 30 days. So we're very optimistic. The other thing I wanted to update you on is something that you probably read in the news, and there's two components. Fayetteville City Council did enact an entertainment district pursuant to Act 812. An entertainment district allows a city to develop rules for the possession and consumption of alcohol in public in the areas of primarily commercial use. They did pass that ordinance, and it does have an emergency clause attached to it. And we have a lot of information on our city website that spells out very clear what this does. I'll briefly touch on the three things that this does. The first is it addresses consumption and possession at sidewalk cafes throughout downtown. This is an exciting piece. It's a very subtle change from placemaking, because traditionally now, if you want to serve and have your patrons drink alcohol there, you have to have a perimeter fence. This gets rid of that requirement. It enables more businesses to take advantage of this while maintaining ADA access on our sidewalks. And so we're very excited about that component. The second component of the ordinance is events. Events don't have to apply for a temporary picnic permit anymore. Arkansas is one of the few states that still has a thing called beer gardens. Vast majority of the country doesn't have those. But this eliminates that requirement. And I think the coolest thing about the events that this does now, if an event shuts down a road in an area, they can source their alcohol from the businesses they just impacted. And that's going to be something to look forward to once it's safe for us to gather in that manner again. The third is the biggest component of it, and that's the pilot program. There'll be more this week about that, and that is the walking around with a drink in your hand. We're very fortunate that this ordinance was not developed in a vacuum as a response to COVID. We've spent the past 8 months working on it. The timing was just impeccable to be able to deploy it in a safe way. And so we're proposing to start that program Sunday through Wednesday on slow days. Now, we are hearing, people some criticism to that, especially because that was a pre-COVID thought. But we felt it was really important to maintain consistency because we did a ton of business collaboration. And if our business community in the area is ready to go further, we're happy to explore that, but we're going to do it together, and we're going to do it where they're in the lead. And so that pilot program could begin in the next 3 to 4 weeks. We hope to be notifying City Council and getting the cups in, and visible identifiers will actually be here tomorrow. So the other thing I would like to say, for restaurants citywide, you have options too. So there is a ABC rule change that enables restaurants to apply to serve alcohol. It actually extends your liquor license boundaries, something we can't do as a city, where you can safely serve outside. The City Council did do an ordinance change where any business can set up tables in their private areas so long as vehicular, pedestrian, and ADA access is maintained. You don't even need a permit for that. You can proceed forward. And if you want to serve alcohol out there, there is a process to review that, and we're happy to help. And Development Services has deployed those applications very, very quickly. So that's all I have. That's saying a lot in a little bit of time, but you can go to our website and learn all, or please email me or get with Zane, and they'll connect you with me. Thank you.
Okay, so what questions do we have on? I know that's a lot of material, but we have been very, very busy, and that's, we have been working on this. Even with COVID-19 going on, we have been we have been working round the clock to get these projects out and in some sort of timely manner with everything shut down. But it's looking good. I think I was very encouraged when I got my sales tax numbers in last month for the month of February. They were actually up 0.25%. I know that's not what we usually do, and with everything shut down, I thought that was pretty good. So we will get April's in probably this week. And so I can, I said February, I meant March. So March was up 0.25% with everything relatively shut down, and then we'll get April's in this month. So that may not be quite as good, but we're very hopeful. And as I said, as long as we keep building around here, we're going to be okay. We're going to be okay. So what questions do we have?
For those of you online, if you press your space bar, that will temporarily unmute you and you can ask your question. Don't be shy. Mayor, will you give us if you hadn't already planned to, a quick update about the Cultural Arts Corridor?
I sure will. I'm glad you reminded me of that, because right now what we have that's going to be going to the council this month will be the decision on the parking deck, because the parking deck is really the catalyst for everything else that's happening. We're going to start the Faye Jones Nature Trail this coming month. We're going to do a groundbreaking in July. That's going to be a tremendous addition to this city. And hopefully within the month, we will have the parking deck location back to the council. And once the parking facility is taken care of, then we will start to work on the Civic Plaza. But it was interesting yesterday because I was in the library. And I tell you, if you're a little bit down, you need to go to that library and just walk in on the inside of that. That is such a tremendous building going up. It's like the same size as the old library. It's like, it's like almost 200,000 square feet. And it's a world-class library. I have said all along, if we're going to be a world-class city, we got to have a world-class library, and we've got us one now. And it's going to be, I think it will be open probably sometime in November, the way it's looking. It is just tremendous. It's 90,000 square feet is what they're working on right now, to go with the other 88,000 square feet they already have. So it will be something that is going to be, well, it will be world-class all over the United States. It is just, I'm real pleased with that. And, I was looking at that, and I was thinking about the Faye Jones Trail, that nature trail. You're going to be able to walk out of that new library expansion and go down that trail to a civic plaza. We're going to have a food hall down there building, and it's going to, you're going to be able to, to do cooking, and it's a beautiful building on the north end of what is the WAC lot right now, and go across, and then the new parking facility underneath it will have mixed use with commercial and commercial over the top. And I want everybody to see this, and it's like when you think about that whole picture, when we were campaigning for this, I wanted everybody to see that. I know there's folks that, and if you I always tell folks, I don't think about how it's not going to work. Think about how we're going to make it work. We're going to have an arts corridor like nothing else in this region, folks. You're going to go down into that area, and you're going to have a new theater squared sitting there, and a new expansion on Walton Arts Center with a civic plaza, an amphitheater, and it'll be something that people can go to. It won't cost them a dime to go to that. Now, I don't know much, but that sounds kind of good to me. And it's all about you. And it was just something we wanted to do. We wanted a destination place, a place where people could go and just be proud to be part of this city. This corridor is going to do that. And folks, I'm going to tell you something about Centennial Mountain and those trails we built up there. Nobody's got anything like that anywhere in this region, any better than that. I mean, and that's going to be something you can take your family to. You can walk on those trails. We've made so many great accomplishments. That library expansion, I mean, I have a real soft spot for libraries. As you know, I mean, anybody that knows me, the mayor reads every day. Every time I get a spare minute, I'm reading something. And it's just like, they've got a cooking school in there. They've got places where people can get, I believe, David told me yesterday, they'd be able to offer an associate's degree in a cooking program there. Tremendous yes. Accomplishment. I mean, it's not just a library, and this arts corridors. Well, it's just not about arts. It's a gathering place. It's a hub for the whole city to come to. Got a beautiful water feature going right through the middle of it, folks. It's going to be something we're going to be real proud of. Think I need to add anything else than that, Steve?
That's pretty good, Mayor. That's pretty good.
But anyway, so what, any other questions or anything? I tell you folks, I'm really encouraged right now by what we're doing in this city. I mean, I'm really proud of us. I'm proud of the partners I got, the Chamber of Commerce, the University of Arkansas, the school systems. I just think that we are, as they say, a light on the hill. We're a beautiful place. We got wonderful people, and they can be a little opinionated at times, but I'm very aware of that. We're a very diverse group of folks, but it's a beautiful place, and it's full of beautiful people. I love the place.
Would you also, Mr. Mayor, share a little bit about our new police station and the fire station that'll be joining that property with them?
Yeah, I'll be glad to do that. We've got I believe it's a $37 million new police headquarters building going in, and we're working on that. That'll be to the city council probably, hopefully within about a month, I think. And Well, I get a little bit choked up about that because of the experience that I went through in December, which is nobody really needs to go through that. But I promised myself, I promised in 2016 I would get a new police headquarters building. And we're going to get that building. And it's off of, what's the name of that street where they're hooking into? It's Dean and Porter. Corner of Dean and Porter. And I told the police chief when we were looking at the design of that building, I said, Chief, you make the design of that building where it's secure for all the officers. And you do what you think's best. And I'll support that, and I'm going to. And then everybody else can, they can decide for themselves. But it's a great facility. And we got fire stations. We're going to have, my goal was to be able to get a fire truck anywhere in this city within 4 minutes. And with these new additional fire trucks, we're getting very, very close to that. And what that means is when a fire starts in a house, you've got 4 minutes before the fire department has to go from the from the offense to the defense. But if it goes much longer than that, then you can have two houses. But that's why it's all about safety. It's all about security. It's all about keeping everybody, not having only just beautiful structures, but keeping them safe. And we're building 2 new fire stations. We're going to be building on those this year. We're going to be building on new headquarters building. By this time next year, we'll probably have a couple of fire stations done, and we'll be pretty well on our way to being finished with the police headquarters building. Tremendous facility. If you haven't seen the pictures of that, you need to. It's a beautiful facility, and it's a safe and secure facility. And I will tell you all, I'm going to keep those officers safe, and we're going to keep you all safe. So I appreciate your support on that. Anything else?
Let's give them a second.
Sure.
So, Mr. Mayor, the other question I have for you is, what can we, as the citizens of our beloved city and the businesses of our city, do to help you and our city government move us all forward? What would you like us to take on as a personal responsibility to help move our city forward?
Well, I know there's been a lot of discussion about the mask ordinance and all of that. And I just want to say this, folks. The main thing I want to do is make sure that everybody's safe. And the thing that decided about the mask for me, after doing the studies that I've done, now I'd sent out a letter last Monday, and the council brought an ordinance on Tuesday, and that's that. But I know there's been a lot of questions. There's probably a lot of questions for y'all. How are we going to enforce that? And one of the things that was said to me and of course, if the city attorney wishes to weigh in, he can. I'm certainly not an attorney, but I know a lot of attorneys, But anyway, but what we're trying to do with this is what the council has asked, and you can watch their interviews. They said they want to not necessarily enforce the ordinance through penalties and punishment, but through outreach, education, and support. And here's the thing that I know, that if I wear a mask and you wear a mask, we're both protected. And that I want everybody to look at this as something we can work out together. We have what I call the Mask Up campaign. And what we have done as a city, we have contacted 307, and I got the numbers today. We've contacted 379 businesses, and we have passed out over 30,000 masks to businesses and individuals, and I have another 50 on hand. So by the end of the week, we will have passed out almost the equivalent of our population in masks to people, and that's to keep everybody safe. and that's to keep everybody healthy. And, you know, I had to ask myself, and I had to define it in my mind. In the city, if nobody wears a mask, are we healthier? And I'd have to say no. But if everybody wore a mask, we would be healthier, and we would stamp out COVID-19, and we would get rid of it in a hurry, because we're sitting in the middle of a hot spot. Now, I said all that to know it's a serious situation, and we need to take serious steps. But I really want everybody to be willing to look at wearing a mask when you go out in public. I always tell people, you'll see it on my Facebook posts, everybody mask up when you go out. I know I do. I'm in here, but when I leave this building, you'll see the mayor with a mask on. And when I go out in public, I'll go out with a mask on. If I have to speak in front of public, I will pull the mask down long enough if there's enough space, and I will speak, and then I'll put my mask back on. If we don't have the proper distancing, well, you'll get to hear the mayor speak through a mask. But everybody, let's work together. Let's stamp out this COVID-19. The quicker we get on this, the faster we get on this, the faster we're going to get a handle on this until some sort of vaccine comes in. So just work together, believe in the city, and before I get off here, I just want to ask you one question. Don't you just love this city? I know I do, and I know you do too.
All right, one last round for final questions. We have a couple of minutes before Mayor Jordan has to continue with his day. Any last questions or thoughts? Mayor, I really do appreciate your time. Thank you for joining our committee and speaking to us today. It's greatly appreciated. And thank you for taking care of our city. As a quick reminder, everybody, this will be recorded and it will be on our YouTube. So if you missed something or want to re-listen to it, please check out our YouTube. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining. Steve, any final comments or thoughts?
God bless you all, and God bless Fayetteville. Let's go to work.
All right, ever forward.
Thank you, everyone.